Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Game Awards. I'm your host, Mike Berger, and I'm here with my co-host, John Artigler. Say hi, John.
Burger, you forgot to put your pants on.
Oh no. Oh no, not again. No.
Burger, wake up. Burger,
What? Was
whoa, man. You were having a nightmare or something. You started like screaming in your sleep.
Oh, it's just a dream. Wait a minute. Why are you in my bed?
Oh my, that was a weird dream. Damn it.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Screened In podcast. My name is Mike Berger, and I am joined by my co-host, John Artigler. Say hi, John.
Hello, everybody, and to hello, you. Hello, Mike.
Good
It's been a hell.
start.
It's been a hell of a year.
Here on the Screened In podcast, we watch anime, video games, movies, TV, you name it, probably talking about
Oh
it.
man,
And
we're keeping it in.
We are
Oh
starting
my
off the
gosh.
2024 Screened In Awards.
Oh yeah, you're doing good too.
Strong.
Oh my gosh. No, but to back it up, I am happy to be here. This is one of my favorite episodes of the year where we kind of get to go back and admire all the things we watched or played
Ooh la
and also
la.
admire all the episodes that we put out. Sometimes it's crazy how many that we just keep pumping out.
I'm talking about
26 episodes in total we put out in
26 bad
2024.
boys. That actually
The baddest.
that makes me realize how many we did in 2023. Holy cow.
Yeah.
A
We
lot.
averaged like one every other week in 2024, if I doing my math correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we did
We crushed
a
it
lot in
2023.
2023.
Yeah, we
I
crushed
think we
it.
just fell short of one a week that year. I think we almost did it.
It's impressive.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so here's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. We split up everything we've done on the podcast into categories. Nothing that we did not watch for the podcast is included in categories. So
Mhm.
the only thing that we include in our categories are things that we covered on the podcast. That's it.
Yep.
With the exception of one particular category that I believe John has. But other than that, everything else is covered on the podcast. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't mention this or that. Well, we didn't cover it. So
Yeah, if we didn't talk about it already, we're not going to talk about it now.
that's right. So it makes it way easier for us, and it makes it way simpler because we would be doing weeks of
Yeah.
research to get this together and then struggle to watch all of those. So anyway, let's start it. Do we got any admin we got to talk about, John, or can we just go right into this?
Let's dive in. Let's start cranking out some of these categories.
All right. So first up is a heavy hitting category, best TV or streaming series. So we have Knuckles, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Invincible Season 2, Fallout TV series, and Arcane Arcane Season 2. That is the full list of all the TV and streaming that we've covered. What are you thinking, John? How are your emotions kind of swaying you this one?
I feel like a lot of peaks and valleys in this category, if I'm honest.
You could say that again.
Yeah, there's some in here that really stand out to me. I think that there's two choices I would imagine we're between.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Okay, let's see.
I think what I'm going to go with is the Fallout TV series.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Surprised.
I think that one was such a surprise that it was so good. I think some of those series, video game stuff is hit and miss. It's getting better. But when that came out, it came out to, I feel like, universal praise. And I watched it with Kelsey and we loved it. And yeah, I can't wait for more of that show.
It's a good choice.
What are you thinking?
I definitely love. I really liked that show. Like I really liked it, but quality is quality. So it's Arcane season 2 for me for sure. Yeah,
That was the other one I thought we would be between.
yeah, and I mean some of the others on this, Knuckles, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
That one might be coming up later.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
The next one,
a lot of these categories are kind of small to start out.
yeah. The next category we have is anime. And unfortunately, I got to say, I think we dropped the ball here this year, John. We did not do enough anime.
No, I'm surprised. Did we not touch on a Studio Ghibli movie?
No,
Which
that's
I feel
even more
really,
surprising.
Wow, that seems very surprising. But I think even if we did, we didn't include them last year because I think they're in like a different league.
Yeah,
different
we had
thing.
watched enough that we put them in its own category, I think. But
Yeah.
I think it was 3 movies that we watched, right?
We got to go back to that because also we should have a very sad episode. And Grave of the Fireflies is streaming again.
Okay.
But
all right, so anime category, we have Uzumaki, Solo Leveling, and Mabaroshi.
and this is not a strong list.
This
for
is
me.
not a strong category at all.
This is, and assume on your part too, the default winner is Solo Leveling.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure.
Uzumaki, I was jazzed about, and my attention for it and stuff just kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
Mabaroshi, we've talked about that one. That I would imagine that might be in contention for Stinker of the Year. Solo Leveling was good, I think. That was just one that was appealing. It was an animation style I enjoyed.
Mhm.
Story was entertaining enough. I would watch a second season of that. If it comes out, I would go back.
Definitely. I'm right there with you. Solo Leveling default winner there.
Yeah, we got to do some anime.
Yeah, we dropped the ball, but there is a category we went in hard this year, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But
Yeah.
animation is the next category that I put in
Yep.
here. And there's one particular one that I don't know. You'll have to tell me whether it still belongs in this category. I can tell where this kind of fits. But I put the Pokemon Concierge,
Mhm.
Invincible Season 2, and Arcane Season 2. Is Pokemon Concierge, Pokemon Horizons is also on this list.
For animation?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be more appropriate than anime?
What was Pokemon Horizons?
Well, I included on the list.
Oh,
you
yes.
watched something else.
Yeah, I remember you brought this up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting stuff.
You're too young to have that problem.
For this category, another kind of standout for me. I mean, you've already selected this show once.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going with Arcane Season 2.
There's like
It's incredible.
There's no way, like specifically with animation, there's no way you pick any of the other 4. I mean, Pokemon Concierge deserves.
I was just thinking that we just pulled the trigger on Arcane Season 2 real quick when I think we were gushing about Pokemon Concierge.
We were. I mean, like I remember when the Magikarp turned into a Gyarados, and I was like, "Whoa, that looked amazing."
Yeah, like that is very unique, and I would say it might be even closer if there was no recency bias involved.
That's a good point.
Because this is, I mean, it's like action figures and like Tuft and Needle, Psyduck. And
do you remember how little fanfare that received, and how, like, if we have a category that's like most underserved or something by the general public,
most underrated.
Yeah, most underrated. Pokemon Concierge would be probably on that list for sure.
Yeah, we looked it up, and it never really peaked in like a top 10, except for like.
Yeah, it was a travesty.
Oh, I do see a headline though from 10 months ago that new episodes of Pokemon Concierge are in production at least.
Oh, wow.
Because I know that was a fear for us that it was a one and done.
Yep.
But let's not focus too much on the loser of the category.
Yeah, recently, Arcade Season 2's animations. It's amazing.
It's so unique. It's so well done. It's the reason why it took 3 years for a second season.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got another category here for us that I'm actually quite proud of the fact that we have this category on the list, and I would
Hmm.
be down to do some more, but I think we did the exact right amount of them. We have the docu-series category.
Yeah.
We watched Chimp Crazy and we watched Quiet on Set. Both I enjoyed thoroughly. I mean,
Yeah.
enjoyed is not the right word I would
No, I
use
know
for
what you
either
mean.
of those. But
They're
yeah,
both
they were good
compelling.
watches.
Yeah, these two I think were like the two. I mean, they both were very popular, very different kind
Yep.
of premises. And I think this is a tough one because they are very good in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to go with Chimp Crazy because that was just, I don't know, it was out there. Like, Quiet on Set is very interesting. It's true crime esque with the things that went on there.
Yeah.
And so it's very serious and it's informative. But Chimp Crazy was just crazy. And we were like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode to come out when we were watching it. So I think I got to go with Chimp Crazy.
I'm right there with you. Chimp Crazy was, I think they both explore how like society and human beings, like it just, they were both so interesting. These kind of subcultures and everything. Quiet on Set was disturbing to say the least, but Chimp Crazy was more disturbing. It was hard to watch at some points. Chip Crazy for sure for me as well. And again, I kind of felt like when you thought you had it pegged, Chimp Crazy, it goes in
Yeah.
another direction. And you're just like, what?
It's an amazing twist in that
Yeah.
show.
All right. So the next category we have is a big one, our biggest one. And it makes sense. But I feel like once I give you this list, you're going to realize how much time we spent on some real not so great movies.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, so Saltburn. That's what we started out 2024
Classic.
with, by the way.
That's a good
Saltburn.
one.
I'll always remember that
That's my
episode.
favorite episode title that I've ever done.
Well,
Stupid, sexy Saltburn. And I was like, I hope people get this reference.
Rebel Moon Part 1, Rebel Moon Part 2,
Mhm.
Mabaroshi, Dune,
Dune 2.
Damsel, Ricky Stenicki, Roadhouse, Unfrosted, Godzilla -1, A Quiet Place Day 1. I can't remember the two movies we did for Christmas.
Oh,
Letters
Dear
to
Santa.
Satan. Yeah,
No,
Dear
Letters to
Satan,
Satan.
which
Dear
is the Jack
Santa.
Black Christmas movie. And Nutcrackers,
Nutcrackers.
which
Yeah.
is the Ben Stiller Christmas movie. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 movies this year.
Yeah.
13 movies. That's a lot.
Because I feel like we tried in the past to be so even with
We
what we
did.
pick.
We got really busy. And what's the
Yep.
easiest one to throw in there? Movies. Yep.
It's easier to do.
It's easier to do.
And you are right. There's a lot on here. I mean, honestly, I don't mind a lot of these, though. Like I said, Rebel Moon is like a fine wine. That is
Oh, no.
straight up. If you told me right now, hey,
No.
hey, John, Rebel Moon Part 3 just got released, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm watching it after this. I would go watch it 100%.
Oh,
Is it
couldn't
great?
disagree harder.
No. But like, I don't mind those. Like, they're not good, but it's schlop. It's fine.
Okay. So
But
what are we
man,
talking here? I
I was gonna say, I feel like I've been
have a
giving
clear
my
winner.
choice first quite a bit. What
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Oh, it's a runaway. Close.
Runaway. Wow.
Like,
I have two.
not even close. It's Godzilla -1 by a mile. That movie was so unexpectedly good in ways that I cannot explain or describe. And I would recommend it. I recommended it to my wife's in-laws, and they're older. And
Your wife's in-laws or your parents? Just like you.
I recommended it. My wife's parents, and they're older.
You recommended it to her parents.
Oh, the judges noticed that fault. It's gonna take a lot for him to recover from this one.
I had to get you back for me messing up the intro.
So yeah, Godzilla -1, absolutely, without a doubt.
I agree that that is a phenomenal movie, and I think Dune 2 edges it out
Okay.
due to the
Okay.
theater experience.
Okay. Yeah,
Seeing that in IMAX,
I
it
get
was
it.
just nuts.
It makes sense.
And yeah, that was the most fun I've had going to a movie. At least at the time, I was like, "This is amazing! Like this is nuts on the big screen."
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go with Dune 2. But yeah, Godzilla -1, I would go back and watch that very soon.
Oh, for sure. It was an excellent movie. Um, quite a large category.
Yeah,
There we could probably break that down further, which we do in this next
yeah.
one, which is the best sci-fi / fantasy movie. So we have Rebel Moon Part 1, Rebel Moon Part 2, Dune, and Damsel. But if we want to say, because I'm quite thinking that Dune 2 is going to run away with that one as well.
I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, as much as I just was saying, like, I don't mind Rebel Moon,
Yeah.
it's no comparison to a movie like Dune 2. It's not even close. So, and Damsel, that's might get brought up in another category too. That's one of those movies I forget exists.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. I actually
I mean,
enjoyed that episode. I can remember that episode
yeah,
pretty well.
I mean, it was a fine movie, but I don't know, it didn't stick with me too much.
Okay.
So I would definitely say the best sci-fi or fantasy movie was Dune 2.
Yeah. The next one we have is also a super underserved category. And I think what my plan is for 2025, stepping away from mediocre movies and doing more
Hmm.
anime and doing more video games.
Yeah, I
Because,
think you nailed it before, where we just had time crunches and movies are the easiest.
yeah.
And I actually, I have like it. I think it was part of the reason we went to bi-weekly episodes, even because it's like every week we had to come up with a topic, and it was like, this movie looks cool,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we would just put on a movie, and I think it just led to a lot of mediocre movies.
Some of my favorite episodes of our podcast in 2023 were video game ones. And I got to say, I enjoyed both of the ones in this category.
Yeah,
Because the two video games that we did do are Pal World and Dave the Diver. And I enjoyed both of those. I spent a decent amount of time in Pal World even after we did the podcast. This is hard to pick from, actually, for me, harder than I thought. What do you think, John? Let's get
I
your
was gonna say,
thoughts
for
first.
Pal World was fun when we played it like together, and like when we did the episode and we played it like
Yeah.
at the same time as recording.
Yeah.
It was a fun game, but I never went back to it really.
Okay.
I did, but it just didn't last for me. Dave the Diver, I played a lot before we recorded and a lot after we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I played it a ton, and I love it, and I need to go back to it because I never finished it. But I would 100% say Dave the Diver for me.
Mm.
This one wasn't super close for me.
I think I'm going to go Pal World.
Okay, I mean, that game was huge when it came out. People loved it for a reason.
It's only, and that's kind of surprising because I really love indie games.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a big fan of like indie darling kind of video games that come out of the woodwork. You know, well, I'll talk about that in a different category, I guess. But I spent more time in Pal World than I did Dave the Diver, and I didn't go back to Dave the Diver, which I think
Okay.
is telling. That's the only reason. I feel like if you asked me which is the better video game, I would say Dave the Diver. But I spent a lot of time in Pal World and really enjoyed my experience there, so I'll give it to that one.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's understandable. It sounds, and I feel like you play Pokemon games as well more than I would.
Yeah,
Which
that's also true.
Pal World's a little more right up your alley.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could understand that.
Yep.
Dave the Diver just had the right formula for me, and it
Yeah,
just hooked me in, and I just was playing it all the time.
sure.
There's a chance I actually go after here and fire that up. Unless I go
Ooh,
to my number 2 game of the year, MLB The Show, and just crank some dingers, hit some great
nice.
home runs.
It's a great
Uh,
sports game.
I don't know. It's just been scratching that itch of where Dave the Diver was kind of a brainless game for part of it. Not brainless, but like
Yeah,
there's a formula to it. You can just kind of do it.
sure.
I mean, MLB has been that for me recently because I'm just, I don't know,
Yeah.
something like Octopath Traveler. Like you got to kind of,
Oh
your
yeah,
brain has to be active playing
yeah,
that game.
yeah. Takes a
But
little
yeah, I
bit of
feel like
work.
we could definitely have to bump up the video game category as well. Like you said, definitely not a ton on the list. I feel
Yeah.
like even with time crunches, we could work in a few.
Yep. All right, so that's it for my categories here, John. I say we go over to you.
Okay. Um, my categories are a little more vague and a little more open ended.
More fun, I think.
So yeah, we might not. There might be a little editing magic as we think of an answer, but man, it's going to sound smooth after I ask this. But I think I'm going to start with before we get to our big overall kind of categories. What is an episode that you would record again? Maybe we recorded it only after only a few episodes of a show, or after only a couple hours of playing a game or something like, or maybe your opinion has just changed on one of these topics. So, what one would you like to go back and kind of record again with the knowledge you have now? I'm definitely gonna have to think about this for a second.
Yeah. I think I have mine.
Okay, lead us off then.
Okay. I think I think it's two, and I think I would have done more research around it than we had done because I feel
Okay,
like there was so much of a story to tell around the making of it. I think we probably could have done more for Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2.
I was not expecting that. I didn't
Yeah,
think you'd want to do that again.
I mean, if you're asking me like which one would you want to do over? That and like to me I'm like want to do those over again because I felt like there's so much story around the making of those that I find really fascinating.
Okay,
Um that we
I
could
actually
have
don't know much about it either.
that we could
So
have talked more about uh not the movies themselves but yeah, there's just a lot. We did watch like that small docu-series about the making of it. I do remember that. I think we both did, or maybe I just did. But
I don't think I did. I think I saw that it was on there and I didn't end up watching it.
yeah. So if you ask me which one I enjoyed the most that I would want to do it over again, I want to say Pal World because I kind of feel like I kind of feel like I want to do an episode of a video game. And if there's listeners out here that want to do this with us, 100% we want you in. But I want to do an episode of a video game where it's me and John in a world, multiplayer, you name it, whatever. And we're creating something together. And with the help of our listeners, if they so choose, that kind of thing would be
Yeah.
so much fun because I feel like if we had done that for Pal World, like if we had brought a bunch of people into one server to really make it something cool, it would have been a lot of fun. So, enjoyment wise, I would get a bunch of people together and play Pal World, but we can do something else in the future. So I'm excited.
And I think I want to jump on that bandwagon too a little bit of the Pal World episode. One of the things I hate is when we do an episode and I haven't been able to, get into something as much, or maybe I watched it too early and now I'm like forgetting details.
Mm-hmm.
And with Pal World, I think it would have been more fun if I had really put like 10 hours into it or something
Yeah.
before we recorded. Yeah, because then I could give a more informed opinion. Like I was still in like the very, very, very beginning stages of that game, and I don't know. When I'm doing an episode on that, and it's like I can give you my opinion so far of what I thought about the game
Mhm.
and everything, but it's like I don't know just how informed is it, I guess.
Yeah.
So like I thought it was like I went into the game blind, so it was like funny to have my reaction to finding out it was like a survival build game. But
Yeah.
like it would have been better to have that and then followed up with like, but I now have a cool village or whatever, like the little factory thing going on. Like,
Sure.
so that one I definitely wish I could do again with a little more backing. And I feel like, I mean, all the other ones, I mean, I don't know about doing it like again. It's more like there are some episodes I look at and I'm like, I wish we could have like replaced that with something more
Yes.
interesting or something.
100%. I have so many of those. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next category then.
Okay.
And it sounds like this one is going to be kind of multiple options of
No. Oh, for sure.
what episode or episodes were like kind of most forgettable. Things that you look back and you're like like okay, yeah, we did that. The episode might have been fine, but I that's been out of my brain since we talked about it. Like, do you have ones that come to mind? Is that kind of what you were talking about? Like, there's a lot that kind of just are nothing burgers.
By the way, the term nothing burger is very offensive to us, John,
Oh
so I
my goodness, I'm
prefer
so
that
sorry.
you don't use that.
Oh my gosh, can you cancel me in 2024 so I'm good in 2025 at
Yeah,
least?
no problem.
Okay, perfect.
uh,
As I said that, I was like, oh no. I was like,
um,
oh.
uh, most forgettable. Um,
But we do most forgettable and most regrettable.
yes, I like those.
I feel like
They
that
are two
opens it
different
up.
things. 100%. Most forgettable is Mr. and Mrs. Smith for me.
Oh my god, yep, that's mine too.
No way.
I was
No
scrolling
way.
through and I went, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that show."
Yeah.
I genuinely was like, I forgot all about it.
And it hurts to say a little bit too, because like I like the actors that were in it. I thought were good. I just eh.
Yeah,
I
like
like the
that's one of
intro
those.
we did to that episode though. That was really cool.
Oh, I even forget what that is. There's like
It
an
was the
explosion or something,
yeah,
right?
we did like the us walking away and then the explosion happens and then both of us are like, "Oh my god, how did people walk away from that?" It was a really
Yeah,
funny intro. Best
that was
intro
the
is a good one to
highlight of
do.
that show. Yeah, that's true. I like, but
Oh, Saltburn had a weird intro, I think, if I remember correctly.
oh man, I wish I went back and listened.
I think what we should do is a whole episode where we just listen to all of our intros
Oh my
and
god,
talk
that's
about
not a
them.
bad idea.
Yeah, that'd be
Ooh,
a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I'd
All
probably
right,
crack myself up on that episode.
that wouldn't be too bad. I like that idea.
All right.
Um, but yeah,
Uh,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think that was I wanted to finish it and then I started to hear it was bad, so I didn't even finish it.
nah, me
I
neither.
forgot that show exists.
Yeah,
I mentioned it before, that movie Damsel. I
yeah,
feel like that's like classic Netflix just junk. Like they get a
yeah,
big name actor to come in, they make some movie, and no one talks about Damsel anymore. Like it's not like it's a bad movie at all. It was fine, but I haven't heard that movie talked about.
yeah.
What are some other ones? I'm just scrolling through.
Unfrosted was uh bland, I'd say.
It was Unfrosted, you'd say.
Yeah,
But it was yeah, that one, but I still didn't mind covering that because it was like it
yeah.
was a Seinfeld movie, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of. But yeah, that one wasn't. I feel like that was one that we went into and we're just like, I don't have enough to say about it because it wasn't comically bad and it wasn't good.
Yeah,
So
we
you're
were
kind
just
of in
like
that
it should have been
weird.
better, basically.
I
Well,
mean, the one that we always talk about is Mabaroshi.
yeah, but it was
I mean,
still it wasn't forgettable, that's for sure. Because I was like,
yeah, I guess.
No, no, no. For me, like I remember that episode and doing it and how weird I thought it was. Like
Yeah, that's true.
it wasn't forgettable to me. Like is it bad? Yeah. Which
But
is
yeah,
the
I
second
guess
category, right? What did you call it?
I said forgettable and regrettable, and
Regrettable.
that's where I would put like Mabaroshi. Like, I feel like there was other anime movies from 2024 that we could have done even that early in the year.
I have
But like,
I have an answer for most regrettable. And this
okay,
is
and is
like,
it now? Is this going to be like the same as like your worst episode of the year, or is this just regrettable? Because we could
oh,
transfer into that if we want worst episode of the year.
okay, yes, please.
Okay, so it I was gonna say it sounded like you were powering up to really dunk on an episode. So
I am.
I mean, before we get to the highest of highlights, what was your lowest low light for our episodes this year?
I'm gonna channel like my inner hater, I think, for
Oh
this one.
man, what is this gonna be?
I actually like the more that I digest and think about these movies as we stepped away from
Oh,
the episodes, the more I dislike them. I dislike Rebel Moon so
oh,
much to my core. Like I just don't like them. Like more so, way more so than Damsel. Like Damsel was like, okay, there was a dragon. This was pretty cool in this scene, that scene. When I'm not a movie critic, I don't. I'm not someone who like who can notice like, oh, why did they use that lighting, or
mhm.
why did the director choose to do this instead of that? Like, I have no specifics on that. But when I can notice that your punches sound dumb, like inside the movie, that's not a good sign. Like, it's not a good sign that I can notice that your punches sound like someone kicking a bass drum. And
I
it
forgot about those punches.
infuriates me. There are some things that are slightly entertaining in those movies, but I also remember just being like, how did you drop the ball on just even introducing all of these characters?
Mm.
Like we got like 10-second backstories with each of these characters, and then we were supposed to care about them. And I
And
was
their
like,
backstory seems so cool too.
they
Like
were
they could have
cool.
been
They were cool,
it could
but
have been a whole MCU
we
like
had
where it's like a movie
yeah, we
each.
had like yes, 100%, but we had no time to
Nope.
get emotionally invested in any of the characters. It was just like this guy's gonna fly in a bird, this chick's gonna fight a spider, and we were just like, all right, I guess that's cool. And then we just move on from there. So I really just don't like Rebel Moon, and I dislike it more now than I did back then.
Just because you hate the movie so much, do you want to take a guess at what the audience scores are on Rotten Tomatoes?
Do I
Just
want
the
to?
audience score, because I think they were pretty panned by critics.
I want to say it's higher than I think it is. Like, let me give it like a 72.
72. That would be pretty high.
Okay.
Part one is at a 56.
Okay.
So that's still got the old little spilled over popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
And then part two is worse at a 47.
Okay. Yeah.
The critic scores though for both of them are just hovering around 20. So like the critics hated these movies. And I agree, like these were not good movies,
Yeah.
but I don't know, there's something about it. Like these got into that category when I was watching it where I'm like, this is bad enough to where it's like I'm having fun picking up on those bad punches.
Ah,
Like
got it.
and because it's Zack Snyder, it is still visually cool.
Yeah.
And so this one I wouldn't put it like and I think what's also saving it, my little rose colored glasses, is I think our episodes were super fun on that.
The rage watching things are kind of
So
fun. Like,
We should do more. I mean, we have so many episodes, I feel like, where we both watch something and we're both like, I really loved it. Ba 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 ba.
so true.
We don't watch a lot where it's like, holy crap, dude, why'd you make me watch this? Like,
Yes, yes. I
so I think
agree.
it
I
it
agree.
was a really fun change of pace for
It
that
was.
reason.
It was. And I also
Um,
regret all of the time we spent on it
oh,
at the same time. The
um,
same time.
I think my worst of the year,
Uh-huh.
my
Uh-huh.
most regrettable, we've already talked about it multiple times. It's Mabaroshi. Um,
John, you really you dislike that as much as I dislike Rebel
yeah.
Moon.
So first off, it was my suggestion. I found this
I know
trailer and was like,
how much
Burger,
how
we
much
gotta watch it.
how much you dislike yourself in
Yeah,
when you talk about this, like for suggesting it is really funny to me.
I'm projecting it onto myself
Yeah.
because when I watched the it was such a bait and switch, and I'm all to blame
Mm.
because when I saw the trailer for this, I watched part of it and it looked so cool. Like it was this power plant erupting in this small Japanese town, these kids seeing it, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this is going to be a disaster movie. How cool." And when it turned into time dimensions and this annoying baby voiced girl and all this stuff, I just was so annoyed. Like, if I knew that that's what it was going in, I probably would just be like, it wasn't too good. It's fine. But I was just so annoyed that this was not what I expected. And it also, hey, Burger, I looked up multiple lists before we started recording of best anime movies released in 2024. Not on one of them. It's like it was, I think it was hyped up too. Like when I think I saw people like, is this going to be the movie of the year? We even called our episode that. And I feel
Oh
like
my
it's just,
god.
is it like, will Mabaroshi be the best anime movie of 2024? Spoiler, no, it won't. But yeah, that one was just, like I said, partially on me, but that's the one I wish. There's so many other anime and anime movies we could have done that were great or bad enough to make fun of or something, but we ended up with that.
Yep.
Mabaroshi and Rebel Moon. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the episodes, at least we did on them. But I guess, does that lead us to our big finale uh, category?
I guess it does, John.
So I guess this would be Burger. What was your favorite? Oh, no, actually, hold on.
Oh,
I'm
oh,
coming in hot.
oh, oh,
Here.
oh,
There's one category that I
okay.
did want to cover.
Yep.
What is a topic that you watched or played throughout the year that we didn't get a chance to cover?
This is
Whether
actually
it
an easy
be,
one.
yeah, something that, just we didn't have the time or, something got in the way. But what, so you have one right away. What is it?
Yeah. I played and beat this game, and I would have loved to see your reaction to this game. And I think there's just something in me that's telling me that John would have really liked this. And that's Cult of the Lamb.
I
Cult of
remember
the
you
Lamb.
talked about this at some point.
Cult of the Lamb was an amazing, wonderful game to play. Great indie game. Took me about 30 hours, I want to say, to beat it, including the DLC that released with it. And it was just a blast and so much
Oh,
fun,
wow.
somehow adorable in a way, even though you're leading a cult. You have like these little animals that you're kind of
Whoa.
having join your cult, and you're growing the cult as you're kind of like diving into um it's basically a rogue like um and has like different management systems outside of the rogue like play that are just a blast and a lot of fun. You can manage your cult in different ways. You can make sacrifices, or you don't have to do sacrifices. They will have relations, kind of like Sims characters do, and create an egg, and that egg will
Uh-huh.
hatch into a new cult member. Um, it's it's fun. It's weird. It's adorable, disturbing. Um, you will clean up more poop in that game than you want to, but
Oh my god.
it's just a fun game. It's a really fun game, and I highly suggest it to anybody out there who likes playing indie games. Um, it's people who know me know it. Hades is one of my favorite games ever, and like when studios come out with games like this, I can't get enough of it. Good game.
I'm looking at like the gameplay trailer for
Mm-hmm.
this. This is some of the coolest visuals I've ever seen.
Yeah, isn't it
I
great?
absolutely love
You
this.
like the art
It's
style?
like,
It's wonderful, right?
yeah, it's this like everything's kind of like 2D. This is very unique and very cool looking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did not expect this to look like this. I really want to go download. What is it on? Is it on?
It's on a
How
lot
did
of
you?
things. I played it on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, it is on
Yeah.
Switch. All
Um,
right.
and also like at this point too, like it's one of those games like it's never going to be like super 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 cheap, but it does go on sale now. It's been out for quite some time, so um, it's just got a game with a lot of personality.
Yeah. Oh, it's on sale right now for
There you go.
19.99.
That's not bad at all for
No.
a game that will take you around 30 hours to beat. You know that's a great price.
No. Oh, to say my catchphrase, I got to check that out.
Yep,
Um,
good time.
for
What about
my
you, John?
choice,
Yeah, what
yeah,
about you?
for mine, I'm gonna actually do something very recent, and that I think we would have had a lot of fun talking about.
Hmm?
And that is the major motion picture that is sweeping the nation, Wicked. Because
Yeah, okay, okay.
I never saw the original like Broadway play or anything like that. Um, People are fanatical about it. People love Wicked. Some of the songs are iconic. I I don't know them. Don't really know them. So Kelsey was really jazzed up to see the movie. So we went last weekend. It is a 2 hour and 40 minute part one. It is a long movie. Burger, it was one of the best movies I've seen in theaters in a while. It
Wow.
first off, it goes so fast. Like 2 hours and 40 minutes did not feel that long. And it's like, it is a musical, so like it going in. It's not Joker Part Two, but like I like the singing and everything is really good. I think we would have had a blast talking about some of the things, like poking fun at some of the characters and whatnot. The movie itself is just really gorgeous. I think they did a lot of practical effects. I think they planted a bunch of tulip garden like things, like these huge fields. The train that's like in a lot of the trailers, like they built the front of it to like look like, so they have like a real version of that train. Um, yeah, I think it just would have been something different and out of the box for us to do.
Yeah,
And
not like super in our wheelhouse kind of thing,
yeah,
but
I mean,
like
we
would have
could
enjoyed.
still do it if we wanted, but like, I just think it would be one of those things where it would be a little late and so
Yeah,
on
it
and so
wasn't
forth. But
it would have been cool if we like I think when we do movies in 2025, hopefully we can have the goal of capturing it while it's hot like we did
mhm,
for Barbenheimer.
yeah,
That was a fantastic episode.
I love that one.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. If we could have done that with Wicked, that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
For sure.
and I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. There's like a trend on like Instagram and whatnot. It's like it'll be like a woman filming, and she's like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend or husband before seeing Wicked. You know, and it's someone like me being like, I don't watch musicals, like whatever. I don't know anything about this. Let's get it over with.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to them in the theater afterwards with like a tear rolling down their face or something. And they're like, that was amazing. And like, I wasn't sitting there crying, but I was like, wow, that was really good. And I think it would have been fun. So that was my pick. Like as soon as I saw it, it kind of popped into my head. I was like, nah, this would have been fun. So that's my coulda, woulda, shoulda pick. I gotta say, I feel like we both have lots of little ones throughout the year. Somehow, maybe we could try to figure out a way to highlight things that we're watching on our own
Sure.
that
Yeah,
maybe don't deserve a full episode, but that we just want to kind of have a little shout out.
definitely.
And then now we're finally at the main topic.
Let's do it.
The final category. Burger, what was your favorite episode / topic that we covered?
You know, I'm looking at all of these. I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I keep going back to one.
Rebel Moon Part 1, is that what you just said?
No. That was a very good joke. But I didn't laugh because I don't like those movies. Gotta say Godzilla -1. There's like something about that like where I like didn't believe. It's almost like I didn't believe that I could enjoy it. Like so many ratings are so high on that movie. And I was like, there's no way that I'm going to watch a movie in Japanese that's like a Godzilla movie and I'm going to like it that much. Like maybe I'll like it sort of. Like but there's no way that like I'm going to go into a movie that's all Japanese and it's a Godzilla movie and I'm going to like it that much. And then I watched it and I was just like, how is this so good? Like I still don't really understand how it kind of captured me in the way that it did. I really I want to watch it again. It's really good.
This is one of those movies that if it comes back to theaters, I am going to see it.
Yeah.
Because this was one of my biggest regrets that I didn't get to see in theaters.
Mm.
And I agree. Like this movie, when you said like, oh, it has such high reviews, it has a 90 or it has a critic score of either a 99 or a 100, depending on all critics or top critics.
Wow.
And the audience score verified 98, all audience 95.
Holy cow.
Like
that's so high. Like the expectations, I knew the expectations were that high and I still liked it as much as I did.
Yeah. It met those expectations. It was and the fact that its budget is like 30 million or something.
Still,
it's very low
wild
compared to these big movies. And it's the detail and everything, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Excellent. What do you got, John? What is your pick?
This is a tough one because I feel like I said, I don't know why I go back and I'm looking at all our episodes and there's a lot of like mediocrity, not in our episodes, just like some of the content.
Yeah.
And like Knuckles, like I enjoyed Knuckles at the time, but but I think the one I'm coming back to that I've reignited and I really want to go back to it even after we record right now is I want to say my standout was Dave the Diver.
No way.
I think
actually that legitimately makes me so happy.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Because you had teased that one for a while. You suggested it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dave the Diver. Because I think you said, oh, there's this game everyone's going to be talking about. Or like everyone's talking about. And you're like, Dave the Diver. And I literally, my first thought was, oh, yeah, I'm sure everyone's talking about Dave the Diver. Like, what kind of game is that? And like then I looked it up and I was like, whoa, okay, this game looks kind of neat. And oh wow, and Burger's right, like it's everywhere if you look. Like it wasn't just like, you're not seeing commercials for Dave the Diver, but if
No.
you look up like the top games and stuff like that, people all over were talking about it. And so I was like, all right, I'll try it out. And it I don't know. Like I don't play a lot of indie games, and the art style really took me by like surprise. Like it's this I played it handheld at first on the Switch, and then when I put it on the TV, I was like, wow, this is so much more than just like a pixel art game. Like, and it really hooked me. Like, I was playing it all the time because it was just, I loved just the progression of it. Like, it
Yeah.
was, okay, like, you go fishing. And I was like, oh, I like doing this. And oh, you keep getting better. And then it was like, okay, like, oh, now these events you're preparing for. So now you get to go fishing and you're like, ho, 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 like, I'm going to wreck some puffer fish. And like, you go in there and you're just like harvesting. And yeah, it just really got me into this rhythm. And I think it just, like, the progression never stopped. I put a lot of time into it, and it felt like every time you would come up from a dive, one of the side characters would be like, "Oh, hey, um, this is now going on. Here's this new thing that you're doing now."
Hmm.
And I would just be like, "How many different twists and turns are in this thing, and how many different things you have to take care of?" Because it starts with just the restaurant, and then there's like a farm, and there's a fish tank thing, and then there's these thieves that are stealing stuff, and there's these eco warriors, and there's sea people, and you're like, what is going on? And so I don't sadly play a lot of video games anymore. This one kind of reignited that of me really wanting to play a video game with my downtime. And so yeah, that one just, compared to just a random movie, that one stuck out so far to me and was so enjoyable that
I
it's my number one.
I remember, this is jogging my memory, that I was like, okay, like I there's genres that I really like to play in video games. RPGs, and I include JRPGs in there too. And then indie games like have become one of my favorite things. And I'm like, oh man, we haven't done enough of these like on the podcast. And I was like, I need to get John to do one. I need to get John to do one because there's so many good ones that like I keep playing. So uh and this one came up, I'm like, John's gonna love it. And I was like, he's gonna love it. I know he is. And or I was hoping he would. And it makes me so happy to hear that, because I feel like indie games in particular is a genre that we can dive into on this podcast because it's not this giant behemoth of a game that's like, oh shit, like how long does this take to
Yeah.
beat? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like most of these indie games, like yes, they do have a cycle that can go on. Like Cult of the Lamb being 30 hours, that's nothing to sneeze at. But that's still relatively approachable compared to some of these other games, right? So
Yeah.
uh and they keep coming out with good ones. And the reason why I, like you said, Dave the Diver was put into the stratosphere because it was so good. Like it's not spending any money on advertising. It's just gamers saying to other gamers, "Hey, you got to play this game. It's a lot of fun. It's very good." Um so
Yeah,
yeah,
and
we
and
should
this
do
is
more of
like
those
the
for sure.
yeah, and this is like the Godzilla minus one of video games. It's like nines and tens across the board.
Yeah.
Like every site has it. Just um oh, and just like a little extra, I see there's like right now on the Dave the Diver Steam page, it says buy Dave and Friends bundle.
Oh.
And one of the other games is, I was gonna bring it up, is Balatro.
Oh yeah.
And that's like another kind of, it's like a card game roguelike. And I was gonna connect it being like Dave the Diver is like a roguelike esque
Mhm.
light kind of game. Like when you go fishing, it is like a run, but it's
Mhm.
not like like that is what a rogue.
Agreed.
I'm not using the wrong term, right? That's
Yeah,
a
there's
rogue like
like
where you,
rogue lights and rogue
okay.
likes. So you know, the difference is slight. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. But like
You could put it in either, in
I'm
my opinion, but
I just like that you don't lose all your progress. Like that's always the hardest. When I watch like Hades, and so like starting from that same point and having to be like yes, I'm gonna go further and I'll have that progress, but man, does it stink to have to start again.
the fact that
But
you said that, I wasn't gonna say it, but John, Hades 2, baby,
oh yeah,
coming out with the full release next year
that should be on our list for sure because
for
I would love
sure.
to try it. I did play Hades, the original, like a little bit,
Yeah,
but I got into it, but not a lot. Like it
got
wasn't
it.
something I was like, oh, I gotta go play Hades. I think it
Yeah,
was just on like Game Pass or something.
got it.
Yeah, I'm watching the Dave the Diver trailer right now, and there's elements that I haven't seen or done still.
Nice.
Like I would say like
That's
eighty
awesome.
20 though. Like I've done a lot that's in the
Yeah.
trailer, but there are some things like they just showed at the restaurant like a frozen drink martini thing where you have to like layer the flavors.
Oh,
And I'm like, what the when did I just make sake and beer? Like what? Oh my god. But yeah, that's my one pick of the year.
it's a good
Uh
one. It's a good one.
yeah. I mean, it's been fun reminiscing about all the different episodes we had. And we talked about Hades 2 in 2025. We will have an episode coming
Mm-hmm.
up. Now that we've talked about 2024, we're going to do a little talking about, what we're looking forward to in 2025. Kind of what you see on the podcast next year.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for that one. A lot of things coming
I remember last year we
for
talked
sure.
about Arcane Season 2. And here we are watching it, and we had an episode on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to kind of dig in because I'm a little uninformed. I don't quite know a lot of the stuff coming out next year. So, it's going to be fun to get kind of excited and see what's coming and, what we might be talking about together on here.
Absolutely. 2025 right around the corner, especially at the release of this episode.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you guys for sticking around, listening to us once again. We started this podcast in November of 2020, and we are still going strong. So, enjoying this.
Oh, wait.
Um,
You're off by a year, Burger. We started November 2022.
2022. Sorry.
Wow. We've surpassed 2 years and didn't realize that.
No, I knew the number was past 2 years. I just didn't do the math right.
Wow.
Because I think 2025 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, 2023. That's when we started. Yeah, we
Well,
started.
time flies when you're
2022.
having fun.
That's right. So we're looking forward to having you guys around for another full year. We're on Blue Sky now. That happened.
Find us anywhere.
Made an account for that. But you can find us on Discord as well. We want to fire up that Discord a little more often.
Yeah.
And
I definitely have to do that.
and talk to you guys on there because that's always a blast to do. Trying to make some of the episodes more interactive, like I said, with multiplayer video games, survival games, things like that. But of course, we want your input on what we should do in 2025. So you should hit us up. Tell us, what are you looking forward to in 2025? What should we do on the podcast? Things like that. Shout us out on Discord. Let us know. We're on pretty much all the socials. But this has been another episode and another year of the Screened In podcast. So we want to thank you guys very much for listening. And if you're just listening for the first time, it's kind of a weird episode for you to do, but we
Yeah.
appreciate it. So that's it for another episode of the Screened In podcast. Adios, everybody.
See you later, everyone.